I woke up at 4:30 this morning to make the morning commute with Paul. Say hi, Paul. We're going to our second cousin's farm. And we are here. Paul is just getting the combine started up here. Wheat harvest equipment generally consists of about 3 parts. We have the combine, the bank out wagon, and the wheat trucks. Paul is trying to realign the thingamajig. Okay, so Paul asked me he's gonna drop off that red truck. I need to pick him up with the gator. Next stop, bank out wagon. So this is the bank out wagon.
Yeah.
What does the bank out wagon do?
Well, it picks up the combine driver because we're too lazy to drive the trucks out there and be fancy and load on the go, pretty much. So we have a bank out wagon being hauled by a tractor. Is he stuck? Hey, boss.
Yeah, Paul.
Are you moving?
No, I'm not moving. We're gonna have to think about this. It's a pretty bad spot. I'm wondering if you shouldn't bring that heavy-duty recovery strap with you.
Exciting.
Bring a tire chuck for checking tire pressure to let air out of the tires too.
Okay, we patched in most of these fields, so it's got 7-inch spacing instead of the usual 18.
So you just pick up the grain from the field.
Yep, pretty much.
Because he's halfway out there.
Yeah.
And he has a full tank.
Yep, and then we just load on the go.
Okay, and then you dump your load into the trucks.
Yep, and the trucks take it either depending on what kind of weeds, whether it's seed weed or not, takes it to the bin or to the river, to the elevator.
You don't want real drama, you want pretend drama. He's slut. Kind of scared him, I betcha. We're letting our air out of these tires. Why?
Well, because as you can see, it done slid. Or slid. Or slewed. Sliding. The ground is just too soft here.
It's, it's really steep. The cavalry. Right now we're taking all this uncertified wheat to the river, right?
Yep.
And they have a silo there.
Yeah, they have big ones. We'll dump it all there. It takes like 2 minutes to dump there. And then we'll dump it all, and then they'll weigh us when we drive out, and they'll give us a receipt. Happy Monday. Get a receipt. Thank you. See you. All right. Got the goods.
What's one of your favorite things about this job so far?
It's really peaceful. I'm not a real farmer. I just come to help Andrew. So it's low stress for me. Just coming to be a soldier and doing whatever he tells me to do. And if somebody's tire blew up.
Yeah, you should quit Paul and dump over there so that then he can load that black truck for one more trip to the river, and then we'll be good to go.
Copy.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Joe McDuff. So what's your favorite part about this job?
I can read.
Combine! Ooh.
Made it.
Yeah, just barely. So how many acres do you have here?
This year we're cutting about 1,500 acres. Next year's about the same. CRP ground too.
So in total, what's all of that?
Total between what my mom and dad own and what Jessica and I own, it's about 5,000 acres. Quite a bit of it's in CRP. We kind of keep the best ground production-wise and easiest to farm for farming. And the rest we put in CRP, which is the Conservation Reserve Program, USDA. Sponsors that program basically and pays for the rental rates and all that. It has an automatic hydraulic leveling system on it to keep the combine level, which is important because then the combine can process the grain efficiently. If it rides unevenly or at an angle, it doesn't process the grain as well. But you can see the header is cutting differently than the combine sitting. The combine's sitting level.
What's this year's harvest look like?
So far, it's been a little bit above average. This field probably is going to go a little bit below average, I would guess. So this field wasn't able to be sprayed with that chemical called Beyond. But we had a weird spring where it was the wettest year on record for a 6-week period, and end of March through 1st of May maybe, and it was the wettest in 130 years, the second coldest, which is really, really good cheatgrass growing weather.
What's been one of your worst harvests?
Last year wasn't great. Yeah, last year we cut 27 bushels to the acre, which is below our average significantly. There was also a really bad one. I think it was 2015. We had a really poor crop. I think we cut 19 bushel wheat. Then the year following that, we cut 80 bushel wheat.
So how many bushels is this wheat?
Right now the yield monitor says it's going between 40 and 50.
You're using the word bushel a lot. What measurement is that?
Bushel is a measurement of volume, and it's roughly, if you had a 5-gallon bucket full of wheat, that is roughly a bushel. But more so now, it is easier for it to be a measurement of weight. And a bushel of wheat, pretty consistently, is considered 60 pounds.
How long have you been farming?
Well, as I was growing up, I helped during the summers with harvest and things of that nature, but I've been farming full-time for, this will be 9 years.
So right now we're harvesting wheat. Do you grow anything else?
No, we typically just grow soft white winter wheat. Our farm is a seed farm, so we grow seed wheat, which gets sold to seed companies who then sell direct to farmers to plant in their fields.
When do you plant your wheat?
Pretty traditionally we plant at the end of August, very 1st of September. We try to be done seeding by September 5th.
And so by seeding in September, does that mean that the wheat sprouts before winter?
The wheat will germinate and typically emerge within 2 weeks from being planted.
So after the wheat is planted, do you spray it with anything?
Some of the time, if there's a germinating rain in the fall for cheatgrass, we will spray the wheat fields in the fall with a chemical that is intended to kill the cheatgrass.
So how long does harvest take you then?
Harvest usually takes about 3 weeks between breakdowns and other logistical challenges in terms of for being a seed grower. We have to clean out bins, clean out pits, clean out augers, combines, trucks, bank out wagons when we switch varieties, which is what we did this morning.
It's my understanding that you go off and on fields where you plant them one year and harvest them, and then the next year you just leave them be.
That is correct. You need to allow the ground time to accumulate more moisture. You need to have time to put down nitrogen.
So I've been noticing that not a lot of farms around here are irrigated. Why is that?
We don't have water here, so for us to have water, there would need to be irrigation canals, and therefore there would need to be a canal system put in and then water in place to be able to service those farms.
What's that computer screen up there telling you?
That is our GPS monitor that is yield mapping. So it is showing us where we have high yields, showing us where we have lower yields, so then we can apply our nitrogen in a more specific and targeted manner so that we ensure we are using our nutrients and our money where it is needed most.
What's one of your favorite type of food?
It might be seafood.
What's the worst part about this job for you?
I would say the breakdowns. They're definitely a part of it, but it's very challenging when things are going very smooth and well. When you have a breakdown, it can be very frustrating.
What's the best part about this job?
The lifestyle. It's very nice to be able to be at my kids' soccer games or basketball games. I get to make my own schedule. I really like seeing what we've done for the day. It's a very tangible progression of your work to be able to see that you've cut X amount of bushels or X amount of acres.
What advice would you give somebody who wants to do farming?
It's very difficult to get into farming without having quote unquote an in. The capital expenses needed to get into it can be quite prohibitive for a young farmer to get into. Being able to buy a combine, tractor, sprayer, trucks, lease ground. Traditionally, you don't have any income for a year or two because you have to plant the crop and wait to be able to harvest it. So you have to have almost 2 years of expenses before you have any income coming in. So I think the best way to do it, get into it, or the best advice I could give is just to work hard. I would say never be afraid to ask questions. There's a lot of people who are afraid of asking questions because they're afraid it'll make them look unknowledgeable or silly or stupid, for lack of a better term. But there's really no dumb questions, because it might prevent you from making a mistake that could injure you or injure somebody else, or a mistake that could cost you a large amount of money. Probably what influences your yield more than anything is the weather conditions, and unfortunately we can't control the weather. So you do your best to control the things that are within your ability to control, and then at a certain point you just kind of got to let God take over and pray. When we get up to that corner, I will stop and let you off.
Thank you very much for watching. If you have any ideas for me, please leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Remember, Christ is risen. Until next time, I'm your host, Joel MacDuff, and this has been Faces Talking.